Following his time with Home Tea and Shabba Ranks, Coco would resume his solo career in fine style circa 1990 with one of the biggest hits of his career. Inspired somewhat by that trip he had made to New York City around 1985, some of the criminal runnings he had witnessed going on there, and it updated a late 1970s reggae classic by singer John Holt called Up Park Camp, the location of a feared prison in Kingston, which told the cautionary tale of a youth who arrives in the big city, falls in with the wrong crowd, makes some bad choices, and ends up facing hard time. Coco took an updated cut of the rhythm track, refreshed the lyrics, shifted the location to the United States, and came up with the smash hit Rikers Island, one of the biggest hits of his career, doing well in America apparently, and led to a full LP titled after it, which appeared around 1990 on the Mr. Do label. Coco T with Rikers Island, another iconic hit from Coco, though the LP side 1 featured his more typical lighter romantic fare, while side 2 gets into some more reality lyrics. Babylon Get Rude, Hunting in the Ghetto, Bad Boy, and so on, and then the title track, Rikers Island itself. Coco would also begin a habit of putting out the occasional political or topically inspired tune, commenting on current events, particularly with the controversial songs Oil Ting and No Blood for Oil, critiquing the Gulf War. Those songs were banned in the UK and Jamaica, but became hits for him regardless. In the early 1990s, Coco would also reunite with Henry Junjo Laws, now out of prison and back producing music. Their reunion would result in the Kingston Hot album circa 1992 on Ras Records here, including the title track, commenting on the violence going on around the capital city of Kingston itself. Bust Out of Hell, exuberant, energetic, a big hit for Coco, and The Return, which welcomed Junjo, name-checking him and welcoming him back to action in the reggae business.
Whoa, mama. Whoa, papa. You should have seen your little son. The first time the youth come on New York, them tell him youth, you mustn't skylark. Learn a trade or go to school, and don't you turn yourself in a fool. But now him gone a Rikers Island. Him never want go a Rikers Island. Him used to walk and screw up in face, but now he's spending enough time upstate. They used to tell him understand, but now them find him with a M1. In him pocket, him have a million, so now him gone a Rikers Island. Him never want go a Rikers Island, but now him gone a Rikers Island. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Tell me whom shall I fear, Lord? When the wicked them come up and I to eat up my flesh, then they stumble down and fell. Cause why? We bust out a hell, we break them spell. Rasta know that time will tell. We bust out a hell, we break them spell. Rasta know that time will tell.
Coco had also not forgotten his old friend Bobby Digital Dixon, who he had first worked with while at King Jammy's. In the late 1980s, the engineer had graduated from Jammy's employ and launched his own Digital B label, which would be a major force in reggae moving forward into the 1990s, and Coco would help him get started. Bobby's first self-produced rhythm that launched his Digital B label was called Peeny Peeny. Shabba Ranks had voiced the title track. That was a hit. And the next cut on the rhythm was by Coco T called Lonesome Side. And these two back-to-back hits helped establish the Digital B label and mark Bobby Digital as a producer of note. While their albums together would not be frequent, Coco would continue collaborating with Bobby over many years to come. Some of their songs together collected on the VP compilations of Bobby Digital Productions' Extra Wicked. This includes Lonesome Side itself, as well as No Threat and Love Me Truly, a combination with the DJ Shabba Ranks on the Rope In rhythm from 1994. Here's the Digital B single, Love Me Truly, Coco T and Shabba, the classic Digital B label, which would be a very common sight in reggae through the 1990s as Bobby Digital became more prolific at producing. But by the early 1990s, a debate was brewing in reggae music, almost a battle for its soul, you might say, as two opposing camps formed. On the one side, the dancehall movement, of which Coco T had been a part since his debut, had developed a sideline of offensive or explicit lyrics, either sexually explicit or espousing guns and violence. These came together under the heading of slackness or slack lyrics, and had been getting more frequent in the late 1980s and early 1990s. On the other hand, you had artists who took exception to this, started publicly condemning it, and wanted to see a return to the sort of roots and culture and spiritually inclined material that had been popular in the heyday of Bob Marley and artists of his generation. Coco T himself would comment on the subject with a song produced by Bobby Digital called Too Much Gun Lyrics. And the Digital B label would take a decisive stand on the side of the roots and culture camp by focusing on more spiritually inclined new roots reggae as the 90s progressed, done by either new and up-and-coming artists or veteran ones like Coco T. In the mid-1990s, Bobby Digital would put out an updated cut of the Stalag rhythm from the 1970s, and one of the key songs on that rhythm was Every Knee Shall Bow by Coco T, paired with Charlie Chaplin and the recently deceased singer Garnet Silk, who Digital B had been working closely with. Garnet had been one of the leading new artists endorsing a return to the roots reggae of the 1970s. Every Knee Shall Bow on the Digital B label, a posthumous collaboration between Garnet Silk and Coco T with Charlie Chaplin. In 1995, Bobby Digital would unleash the original Ketty drum rhythm with another volley of very culturally oriented sides by a variety of artists as the momentum began to shift in favor of a resurgence or renaissance of roots and culture in reggae music as the 90s progressed. Coco would voice one of the key tunes on that rhythm, Holy Mount Zion, 1995, the Digital B label, the thunderous Ketty drum rhythm, and Bobby would overdub DJ Shabba Ranks onto Coco's tune to create a further cut now called Flag Flown High. These are anthemic songs of 1990s new roots reggae, and Flag Flown High would give its title to a 2002 compilation of the best of Bobby Digital's roots productions from the Maximum Pressure label. Flag Flown High, various artists, but titled after that Cocoa Tea hit with Shabba Ranks. Coco would continue working with Bobby over the years, one of his very closest friends and associates. This Cannot Be Real came out in 2003. I might have bought this new. This was how you were buying new roots reggae in the late 1990s and early 2000s, still coming out on 7-inch singles. This rode the Queen Majesty rhythm, a plaintive love song from Coco, got lots of airplay on the radio here. The mid-1990s would also see a rare LP produced by Bobby Digital for Cocoa Tea, Come Love Me. I suspect most of these songs had already appeared on 7-inch singles by this point, here on the VP label. Some of the best of Cocoa Tea's sides with Bobby Digital in the producer's chair.
Give thanks and praise to Selassie the King. Oh, now yes, for all the loving and the joy he bring. He guide and protect us along the way, making provision for us every day. So on your knees, every Israelite must pray. You hear what I say? I can thank you enough, mighty shepherd. Your love can't be measured.
And so shall it be there. In the beginning, God created everything, and everything was created in Africa. Repatriate black man, repatriation. Africa, we coming home, we coming home.
Holy Mount Zion, I'm coming home to you.
Never refuse the black one.
Holy Mount Zion, I'm coming home to you.
Every black for head back to the motherland.
I face a lot of trials and tribulation, but to all of that I must still stand.
Stand up strong,
Giving
stand up
thanks
strong.
and praise to the Almighty One, and looking forward to reach Mount Zion.
As the movement toward a resurgence of roots and culture and reggae music gained momentum in the 1990s, Cocoa Tea would begin working with a producer who would be at the forefront of that movement. Philip Fatis Burrell had started in the music in the 1980s, founded his Exterminator label toward the end of that decade, and by the early 90s was gearing up to be at the vanguard of this roots and Rasta renaissance. 1993 would see the first partnership between him and Cocoa Tea appear. Maybe not Coco's strongest album overall, but significant as a harbinger of much more to come between these two. One Up appeared in 1993. Cocoa Tea at the famed Caymanas Park racetrack in Kingston. I believe he actually owned the racehorse. Remember his passion for horse racing. That appeared on the Green Sleeves label in the UK and showed the rise in roots and culture lyrics with Africa, Here I Come, urging the listener to grow your locks and declaring, I put my trust in Jah. The first salvo from the collaboration between Cocoa Tea and Fatis Burrell and his Exterminator label. 1994 would see Good Life, another big hit between the two. One of Coco's iconic hits, still gets played regularly on reggae radio programs to this day, here on the VP label from the US. Also includes updates of Love Me Truly and Tune In. She Loves Me Now, a new hit. collaborations with DJs Buju Banton and Charlie Chaplin. The combination format getting more popular in this era, pairing different artists up together on the same song. And somewhat different version of that album is Tune In on the Greensleeves label. Includes many of the same tracks. 18 and Over, another hit by Cocoa Tea for Fatis Burrell. But nothing could prepare anyone for the mid-1990s when the decisive shift happened towards roots and culture. Coco had done those strong works with Bobby Digital over 1995, and in 1996 delivered a landmark album for Fatis Burrell's Exterminator label. I bought this album new, played it over and over again. I would rate this as essential 1990s album, maybe Coco's strongest album overall. Israel's King appeared in 1996 on the VP Records label, produced by Philip Fatis Burrell. Not a weak moment on this album over its concise 10 tracks. The title track alone, Coco in his 90s finery there, updating Bob Marley's One Drop Rhythm with a very Rasta-centric declaration of faith in the Most High, going right into a barnstorming duet with another up-and-coming roots reggae singer by the name of Luciano on Rough in a Town, and continuing on to very cultural declarations on Rastaman, Repatriation, One Bright Day, Morning a Come, showing hope, the silver lining in the clouds, then obscuring reggae music with a couple of the trademark Cocoa Tea love songs thrown in. I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love, Hurry Up and Come, the sweeter side of Cocoa Tea, though the pendulum had definitely shifted towards the roots and Rasta songs by this point. This is my original CD of that album. I can still remember buying that at the old Virgin Megastore in town. I used to make regular trips down there looking for reggae. Better selection than what I could find at home. Iconic album of the 1990s, absolutely essential. I might be partial, but I would rate that as Cocoa Tea's strongest album overall. And Coco would continue his collaborations with Fatis Burrell in the 1998's One Way album. Got some 12-inch singles of songs from that album. The VP 12-inch on the Exterminator label of Mr. Necktie Man from the One Way album, as well as No Faith 12-inch singles by Cocoa Tea. The year 2001 would see the Feel the Power album come out, produced by Fatis Burrell. Title track still gives me goosebumps to this day. I think I bought the 7-inch of the title song around that time here on the classic Exterminator label, probably the preeminent label of the era. Cocoa Tea with Feel the Power. Absolutely one of my favorite roots reggae songs of that era, though the albums perhaps not holding up quite as strongly as the Israel's King one from this point on.
People is in cause her pain and strife. She want a good life, no man to cause her pain and strife. She don't want no unsteady relationship, one way a rock like a rocking ship. Want a love that's steady as can be, one that brings back memory. She want a good life, no man to cause her pain and strife. For all the tribe of Israel, who we just let them know that Israel's king is Israel's God. In oneness they say, yes, I'm mad, I'm mad. Israel's king is Israel's God. In oneness they say, tell them I'm mad, I'm mad. Boy, well now, we've come to one conclusion. No more of the Babylon inspiration. I has made a resolution. It will be the Rastaman redemption. I know. Now I know. Disaster. Kuya kuya. Disaster. Disaster. Kuya kuya. Disaster.
You say it rough in the town, tough in the town.
Say Cocotte said that you dreaded it.
Red in the town, red in the town.
Say Lucci and you said it red in the town.
while maintaining his association with Fatis Burrell into the early 2000s with an album Save Us Jah appearing around 2006. Don't have that one, but I do have the title track on 7-inch, the classic Exterminator label, Cocoa Tea with Save Us Jah for Fatis Burrell. I think I would have bought that one new. In the late 1990s, Coco also founded his own Roaring Lion imprint, on which the Tek Way Yugal album would appear around 2004. Kind of a playful hit for him at that around that time. I could remember that one being played on the radio. The Unforgettable album would appear around 2006. In 2008, in the midst of the US presidential election, Coco enthusiastically endorsed Senator Barack Obama with a song of the same name. The song was reportedly played on CNN, became another anthemic song for Cocoa Tea, and was included on an album called Yes We Can, though he later kind of backpedaled his support for any politician. A couple other random Cocoa Tea pieces in my collection. Dance in a Parliament on the Observer's label, later 90 The Observer production, circa 2001, I believe, and a Black Scorpio single from the early 1990s, After the War, probably another politically themed song from Coco. He would continue to do those current events inspired songs. By 2014, his last solo album had appeared through Roaring Lion, though he would continue to perform live, appeared many times at reggae sunsplash festivals over the years, festivals all over the world, including the Sierra Nevada World Music Festival, winning over audiences worldwide with his charisma and enthusiasm. He gave a significant boost to newcomer Coffee by introducing her on stage in one of her early live performances, giving her a boost of visibility. She went on to be the youngest reggae artist and first female to win the Reggae Grammy, given a significant boost in popularity by her endorsement by Cocoa Tea. His last live appearance would be 2022, apparently, on a reggae boat cruise. He had founded his own reggae festival, Dancehall Jam Jam, which lasted for several years. But in 2019, I believe, he was diagnosed with lymphoma, had been struggling with health issues the last few years, and had gone very quiet. Studio recordings had ceased for some time, though he kept active with live performances when possible. But as of 4:46 in the a.m. of March 11th, 2025, we have lost the great Coco T, one of the most beloved Jamaican entertainers of modern times. There's much more I could show you. There's albums I don't have, many hit songs to the man's name, but hopefully this is a worthy introduction and tribute to someone whose music touched my life over the years. Thank you for watching, everyone, and take care.